Good evening. Hey, Vic. How's it going?
Candice, I can't complain, my friend. How about yourself?
I am sleepy. We've had a long week.
Uh-oh. So it's been a long week.
It has been a very long week.
Huh, in what
I had
regard?
to start seventh grade all over again. I had to do so virtually. And so
Okay.
and so I'm just exhausted from that and then still working. So it's been interesting.
Huh. You mentioned the seventh grade. What gives? What's up with that?
My godson started seventh grade this week.
Oh, your
And
godson. Okay.
that that has been, and obviously he's doing virtual learning,
Uh-huh.
and so that has been quite the task,
So you're
keeping
helping
him
him with his work.
on task and focused, and making sure that we get to all six classes on time. And
That's more than an ocean right there.
that's been
That's,
quite the experience. He's been doing pretty well though with it.
that's good. That's great. Fantastic. Fantastic.
And so I'm just hoping that by the end of next week there will be like a rhythm. Because
Yeah.
there are hiccups with technology. There are a lot of hiccups with
That's true.
technology
That's very
from
true.
people being able to hack into classrooms
Oh
to
wow.
people
Yeah.
giving out links so that the hackers can get in the classroom.
Oh wow.
To teachers having to get used to the new technology.
Yeah.
It's just a lot that goes into virtual learning. It's a lot
Absolutely.
for the student. I can only imagine how the teacher is feeling.
You're talking to
Um,
one right now.
right.
I'm going through that right now. I'm not necessarily a techie myself, to be honest with you, but I'm
So
rolling with the
how's that
punches.
experience going for you?
I've had a few rough patches here and there, right? Had some technical difficulties with my class in that regard. I mean, we finally got through it yesterday after 2 days of having some technical difficulties, some glitches here and there, but we're working
Hmm.
things out. But you certainly have to be open to change as an instructor during this time period, especially if you're not used to dealing with that level of technology and so forth. But
Right.
what I find to be the case is that the younger the student is, the more they're inclined to want to work with the technology, and they
Yep.
expect for the instructor to be able to do so,
Yeah. Oh
right?
yeah. Oh
Unless
yeah.
you're, like you say, unless you're a boomer, all the boomers are struggling together, the teachers and the students, and some
Hey,
Generation Xers, some Xers, you know.
Gen X has got. We had a little bit of Atari and outside, so we're a mixture.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. Right. So
So,
in that regard, it's
we
a
had
different world in that regard, right?
yeah, we had Commodore 64s
The
back in
Commodore 64s.
program. I remember 64. That was before I remember the Apple IIc.
Uh-huh. But Mike, we were talking about technology in the classroom, and Candice was
Yes,
asked, she was sharing her
yes,
experiences with her and her godson, right?
right.
Because he's going through virtual learning, and I'm sharing with Candice that as an instructor, I'm also doing that as well. I'm teaching virtual classes this term, and
Yeah.
we're talking about how the educational landscape has changed. Even though the technology has been around for a number of years, our hand has been forced, to be honest with you.
Well, I'm dealing with that with my son. He is in
Uh-huh.
high school. So
Okay.
as even as a high school, he learns this stuff, but they got laptops assigned to themselves. They can
Uh-huh.
only do a certain amount of things on those laptops. You can't really cross reference and do other things with the laptop, so it's kind of limited to what's
That's true.
involved in the school, right?
Absolutely.
But but they know what's going on. But what you have is this additional problem now that students, what's in their background or what their home life is now creeping into the classroom that's virtual. If you can't find a quiet space or internet, now you're at risk, totally not even being able to get an education. If you don't have a mother or a father, a parent or a guardian that's at home to help you through this process, you're at risk. So this additionally separates us as Black folks from rising up. This hurts us. Now, don't get me
Mm-hmm.
wrong. There's always opportunity available to us, and I'm trying to find out who could be the person that goes around from house to house and helps people set up the internet. Whoever you are, you're about to make millions. Get it done. Like,
the funny part is, as I was telling Mike about my experiences earlier this week, Vic, he suggested that I was that person, and I said, Michael,
yeah,
I think that I'm called to do a lot of things, but to helicopter parent everyone's child, I'm not. This week has taught me how much we do not value our educators. I felt so bad for the teachers.
yes.
And today I think I've had it up to here day, because as Mike said, you
Right.
can control what happens in your home. You can control whether or not your
Right.
child is paying attention. Today in his third hour, science on top of that, I was so frustrated because he's sitting there and he's paying attention. I leave the room, you know, because at the same time of wanting to know what's going on and wanting to pay attention to make sure I'm there, I also have to remember to give him his independence, because I definitely was a hoverer at first. So it's like, okay, back away and just stay where you can hear what's going on. But I came back in the room several times because, again, I can only control that he's paying attention, that he's quiet, you know, that he's being a student. I cannot control the fact that you have other children who are, again, the loud background, who are just interrupting the teacher, who aren't paying attention, who won't mute their screens. And it's just like, I was at the point today where I was ready to go get some addresses and knock on some people's doors and go, look, either get your child or kick them out this classroom, because I have a child that's sitting here trying to learn. Not only that, but Mike can also attest to the fact that this whole week, literally my whole schedule has had to be put on hold as far as my working, because I need to make sure that he's okay. And so it's like, not only are you wasting this teacher's time, not only are you wasting other students who want to pay attention, but you're also wasting my time because I'm having to stop working to come and make sure that he's on point. And so now that you're not paying attention, you're aggravating me.
What about his teacher? What about his teacher?
She was patient. But you could tell toward the end that she was getting a bit annoyed. And I'm just thinking, and I know it's horrible thought, but I'm just thinking, okay, time to kick them out the classroom and call their parents. Because this is crazy. Because again, they only have a set amount of time once they're in middle school, high school for these classes. And so they've got this much time to get that instruction. This is a whole new structure for him. You know, he's just now in middle school. This isn't elementary anymore. So there is a lot that goes with this.
That's true.
And so I do feel sorry for those children who, you know, don't have parents that will make sure that they're paying attention. I feel like even if they do go transition back into in-person learning in 2021, those children are going to be so far behind because no one was there to make sure that they were paying attention and make sure that they were doing what they're supposed to be doing. So not only do we have the gaps that were going to exist that, you know, because normally children lose a little bit in the summer anyway. But then you have to understand that a lot of them ended up leaving school early last school year because of the virus. Schools were shut down. So now we've got the amount of school that I've missed because we had to be shut down early for the virus. The amount of education I was going to forget anyway, just because it's summer. And now the amount of education that I've missed at the beginning of the school year because no one was there to make sure that I was paying attention. Sometimes even children that might pay attention better in person are going to act up now because I'm not right in front of a teacher. I'm at home. What can she do for me? You know, I'm in my comfort zone. And so now you got to think about all of that education that's lost in between all of this time of if they actually do get to go back to in-person learning. It's like, so what do you do there? How do you account for that? What's going to be the means? And what if I am a pretty good student who is trying to pay attention? However, I'm just not good with the technology and I'm not good with paying attention. I do better with the in-person learning, or I'm not a very good test taker. And because you had to get to know me through a screen, you don't know that about me. What happens for me? So there are a lot of different things that are going to happen where you have a lot of children that are going to be left behind as far as education is concerned. And because you don't want to penalize these children because of a virus that no one had control over, they're just going to pass these children along and they're not actually learning. So now what happens?
Well, I think, you know, that's why we need somebody like Candice Michette to go around and knock on doors and get those students straight. and
Yeah.
I hear some back. Hear me? Am I out?
You're doing
I
something.
can hear a little bit now, but you're still kind of breaking up a little bit.
All right, well, let me try to get in a better spot. Y'all go ahead and talk. I'm my fault.
So, see, Vic,
Okay.
Vic, what happens when you get children whose technology is like, what happens then? My internet is choppy. I can't pay attention. What happens to me? My dad is Mike, and our internet is bad.
No, but you're raising some great points, though. It's true. This virus has shown the inequities and disparities that exist in our society on different levels, socioeconomically, right, materially, and otherwise, right? So yeah, you raise an excellent question. What happens to those students who have been left behind, right? Who don't have the kind of support systems that certain other students may have, whether it's due to the lack of parental involvement, the lack of funding, the lack of resources, and things of that nature. And then you hit the nail on the head again, because you made reference to learning styles, the different learning styles that exist among students. The kinesthetic style, the kind of student who has to touch something, he or she needs to touch that textbook or whatever and be in the classroom in that regard. They require a lot of patience because they're into movement and whatnot. Then you have other students who are audio driven, other students who are visually driven as far as learning is concerned.
Right.
So you're raising some great questions. And maybe Mike is not too far off the course either. Maybe we do need some kind of a specialist that's going to work with the students in that regard too, in terms of technology and the educational process in and of itself.
Right. And then I think that the other things that we need to take into consideration is parents with multiple children. So on his first day of school, because his first 2 days were half a days, but on his first day of school, he was over at his aunt's. So I went over there, to kind of help him out. And her fourth grader was there. She stepped out to go grab coffee or something. And so now I'm trying to figure out 7th grade and 4th grade, trying to figure out what everybody's doing. And then you have a 4th grader who has a 4th grade attention span. So it's, hey, get off that couch and get back over here, get in front of the laptop.
No doubt.
Then on his second day of school, while he was back home, his sister came over to visit, and she's in 5th grade. And I don't even know where her teacher was. It was Wednesday, and apparently on Wednesday, her teacher's only there from 9 to 9:15. And then they have some other learning that they're in charge of doing, or their parents are in charge of doing for the rest of the day. I kid you not.
Wow.
And I'm like, people have jobs. Nobody has time to
there you go.
teach their child for the rest of the day. That's literally your job. And I get it. As a teacher, that's a lot to do virtually from, and you're underpaid and undervalued. But at the end of the day, parents are still looking at the fact that as a teacher, that is your job. So for you to say you're only going to be on here for 15 minutes, and then the child has to figure out how the rest of this day is going to go, for me, that's unacceptable. But again, I'm not in the administration position to know why they decided to do it that particular way on Wednesdays. And so now I'm dealing with the fact that, again, I have this 7th grader who's only in his second day of school, and this 5th grader who we've got to figure out. Another thing, now they've got to start off in kindergarten, navigating through Google Classroom and all this other stuff.
Candice, we could have been talking to Dr. Peart. Remember Dr. Peart, who used to come in and do the show with me from time to time?
Yes.
Right. Remember Dr. Joyce Peart from U of M?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, she would be an excellent person to kind of broach this topic about too, maybe sometime in the future, concerning education and how the educational landscape is changing. Right? In a variety of different ways, because you're raising some great points about that, right? And how can we effectively deal with that?
Right.
These are some great points.
I think that, again, like I said, when you have parents who have children that are in multiple grades, that's a whole nother issue within itself. And even with him having the 6 classes, he's got 6 different classes to do all that Google Classroom stuff on, right? And then he's still got to switch back and forth to, they got something called a Jamboard, and they've got to pay attention to, the homework assignments when they're posted. Then he's got to keep up with an email on top of all of that to see if the teacher might email that there's no instruction going to happen that day. And I'm thinking, this is not college.
Exactly.
He's in 7th
That's
grade.
what it sounds like. Yeah.
Like
that's
this,
what it
right?
sounds
This
like.
is stuff that happens when you're in college, and
Mhm.
so, like you said, I think that it's just an interesting process to have to navigate through. And so
Absolutely.
my concern falls to the students who do not have parents. As you know, I'm in a field where I'm able to say, okay, I can start doing conference calls at 3 p.m., you know, or I
Yeah.
have a little bit more control over my schedule. But what about
Yeah.
parents who do not have
True.
that kind of freedom that I have
True.
with the schedule? What happens then?
True.
What happens to those children? I'm just
Mhm.
really concerned about education right now. I'm concerned.
Wow. You know, I'm listening to you talk, right? And I'm thinking that given the state of flux that we're in educationally, right? With all these different moving parts, the technology piece, the home front piece, the resource piece, and things of that nature, maybe it's high time that we take more control over the process of education and do it from a communal standpoint. You know, as far as people in the community coming together, right? Putting their resources together. What do you think about that?
I do agree with that. I agree.
Yeah.
I think it's going to take everyone to get this done.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And think about this now. You know, at our church, our senior pastor and bishop, he's been trying to push educational initiatives for quite some time, and mentoring type programs for quite some time with young persons. It might be time to revisit that, not only in our church, but you know, throughout the whole church community. For instance, not just limited to that. I'm just saying, using them as an example. But I think that we're going to have to look at education from a variety of different vantage points and be creative in how we broach this topic of education. We might have to have school after school, if you will.
Woo,
Or
buddy.
weekend school. I'm sorry?
I said, woo, buddy.
Yeah, it will require a lot of hands-on. You know what I mean? It's a sacrifice, but it's certainly worth it, because after all, we're talking about the children. And you know that old saying, the children are the future. Well, that's the truth. It's the truth, right? So I think it comes back to the community, and we're going to have to level up as a community in terms of addressing various educational initiatives that we can roll out ourselves.
I just think that I don't know, Vic. It's just a lot.
It is a lot. It is.
It's a lot. And I think, like you said, the one thing that this virus has done is it's shown the gaps in just America's system, period. You know?
Yes.
It's shown that and I think that's the danger of the arrogance that comes along with, because I will be honest, to me, Americans have a certain amount of arrogance, you know.
This is
I
true.
think that it goes from having pride to being arrogant. You know, it goes from I'm proud of XYZ to, you know, we're blinded sometimes to the point where we do not see our own issues.
Absolutely.
And I think that this virus has again forced us to see America's arrogance in a lot of things, in a whole lot of things.
Absolutely.
Well, I mean, you know, the rock starts from the top, right? So our arrogance starts at our president and our Congress.
Here we go.
I mean, think about what we're dealing with right now. Okay, so Betsy DeVos wants education to be this way. This is her coup de grace of a caste system. Like, Brother Vic, you always talk about a caste system.
Yeah.
This is what we're going back to right now, where only the haves get to continue to have. And the have-nots don't have anything. This is the perfect way to do it. This is the Republicans taking the bull by the horns, not having a catastrophe go to waste. They're using it.
I just think that Mike.
Well, I mean, isn't this a catastrophe? I mean, right? We just heard today that the president of the United States has decided that this didn't matter. The president of the United States has said, All along, he knew exactly what was going on, but he chose to ignore it. Now, I have a theory. I have a theory that once they found out
We're
it
losing
was
the
really
mic again.
folks. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
You're kind of coming in and out, Mike. I think you might have hit a dead spot.
Yeah, I hit a dead
while you were
spot.
driving.
I'm a, the internet is bad. I got Sprint. So once the president and Stephen Miller with their racist selves figured it was only happening to black folks, they decided, well, let's not do anything. Because when the election happens, they'll be scared to come outside. They'll be scared to make moves. They'll be losing all their old people, and their old people vote the most. See, they didn't anticipate the riots would be happening in the streets, but they're going to try to use that to their advantage too. But this is the Nazism, the racism, all working together to try to destroy America. And we can talk all day about what's happening right now today. Does everybody know that we had a lead investigator for Bill Barr resign? She resigned today in frustration because the president of the United States is trying to use the attorney general as his own attorney. And they're going to launch it. They've been launching an investigation, some weird investigation on the Russia investigation to root out the police officers, essentially, who were looking at them. I mean, think about this, Mr. Vic. Me, you, and Candice were running some crime syndicate, working with the Mexican Cali cartel, and we get off because they don't investigate us. Then the next thing you know, we start investigating the police and investigating us. This is what Trump is doing right now. And he is trying to bring down this country. We got to be very careful about what's about to happen. This woman resigned today, and that sends a signal, it sends a shockwave to every red-blooded American that something's wrong at the Justice Department.
No, I agree with you, Mike. I agree with you. There's no question about that. I agree wholeheartedly.
So
we're laughing, Mike, because we noticed how you kind of steered us on off that
conversation down there, bro.
Wait. It's all connected, right? Isn't it all connected? I mean, so if we're talking about the connection between education and low information, right? So you don't keep our kids educated, so they don't know what's happening. They don't go out and vote. They don't make change. Change doesn't happen. They get upset. Now they got to go burn down buildings. It's all connected. It's all burning down because you don't vote. The reason you don't vote because you got low education. You think it doesn't matter. The reason you have low education that they don't teach you right in our school. It's all connected. And we got to understand, folks, that listen, think how hard they are working to take away your vote. So anybody tells you voting don't matter, you're a damn fool. I'll put you in the Trump category of the people. You are like a Trumpist in reverse. You just believe every damn thing somebody tells you. If your vote, they wouldn't be trying to take it from you. If it didn't matter, they wouldn't try to take it from you. They wouldn't be denying you it. They've been denying you for almost 400 years in America, and definitely for 200. You only got it in the last 40, 50 years, respectively, consistently, and that's been inconsistent. They don't allow it for black folks who are incarcerated. They put you in jail. Now you don't vote, and they keep it away from you. They make you count out jars of jelly beans in jars. They make you lie and cheat about your vote and try to steal your vote. And people tell you it don't matter. Come on, man. You can't be that crazy and that stupid and that's foolish. We've got to make sure we get out here and vote this time around. And we all came out for Obama, and I'm cool with that, But in some ways, this election is more important than Obama's election. Much more important. And we got to make sure we keep our mindset connected to that. We got some trouble going on in this country, and if we're not careful, we can lose our democracy. Look, this man said he didn't care if people died. He understood what was going on. He was very lucid when he was talking to Bob Woodward. Have y'all heard the tape with him and Bob Woodward? Have you heard the tape?
So I have not listened to the recordings yet, no. But I have read several of the articles.
Okay.
And I just think that even from what I've read, the thing that we have to be clear on is that we already knew he knew. You know what I'm saying? And every time you try to point out, every time you try to point out to his supporters that he said, even in March, though, he knew about it. He blew it off. Actually, February, he knew about it, blew it off, said it was something that would go away in April as it got warmer. So this is not something that's shocking. As a matter of fact, I'm just waiting for some stuff to come out to prove that he's known since November of last year. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah, definitely.
There you go, Candice.
But
that's what I said. Candice, we talked about this early on, too, a number of months ago.
Right.
And I raised that point, right?
Yeah.
You're right. I agree with you.
Right.
You knew earlier.
And so I just think that, and even when you have that, even when you see that his administration has been siphoning money, that they've been siphoning money from the September 11th fund that was supposed to go to the families of the heroes, or to the heroes that rushed into the Twin Towers as they were burning down. The fact that his administration has been siphoning money that goes toward their health fund, and they're silent about it. I just think at this point, because I saw a comment on Facebook earlier that was like, "Oh, are all Trump supporters racist?" And a couple of them chimed in and said to the person that said that, they were like, "Well, you know me, you know I'm not racist." And so I generally tend to stay out of it, but this particular time, I simply commented back, "They may not be racist, but they decided racism isn't a deal breaker."
Right. Well, Candice, you know I got a word for that. I call it racing. They're not they're not may not be racing, but they're racist. They're not racist, but they're racist adjacent. That's racist. So
this is the thing, though. Of all the things that he's done, and then they keep arguing, they're like, "Well, we like his policies," and I'm like, "What policy has he put in place that you like? What has he done that you actually like?" That's usually the comeback, right?
You want to know what policy? You know what policy? It's a policy of conservatism. I'm going to conserve what's already going on. I'm going to maintain the status quo. That's when they say policy, they can't point to nothing specific. All they know is he's going to keep it the way it is and keep you people of color, you black folks, you Asians, you LGBT people, you women. I'm going to keep y'all out of the levers of power. Listen, just yesterday, they appointed the first woman to lead a bank in the United States of America. I mean, I couldn't even believe that happened. I mean, in the history of this country, we've never had a woman in the lead of J.P. Morgan, Chase, all these other companies, Wells Fargo. No women. Are you kidding me? And the women are still going along with this.
So even if we take out any notion of racism, right? And we look at all of the other stuff that he's done, the things I'm waiting for people to tell me what policy you're okay with. You're okay with his administration. You're okay with his administration siphoning money from a 9/11 fund. You're okay with that. You're okay with the comments that he's made about war heroes. You know what I'm saying? I think the fact that what he said about McCain all those years ago of, I like people who didn't get caught. I'm just thinking like, and then the fact that he's doubled down on so many different things that he said against our veterans, and then to go and act like he's honoring them. It's just like, what exactly are you okay with here? Then to say that the stuff that he said about women was just locker room talk. Why are you okay with that? I'm confused as to why there is no there seems to be no bar of class or sophistication or even common decency that is for the president at this point. Because even if you look at former presidents, whether it's Barack Obama, whether it's George Bush, whether it was Bill Clinton, they were mad at Bill Clinton, and Bill Clinton cheated on his wife. You know what I'm saying? And so I'm just trying to figure out why is it that the standard that even George W. Bush was that they held George W. Bush at, why is he not even being held to those standards?
Well, Candice, it really defies logic, to be honest with you. As we jokingly said last week, this is not about a political party per se, because they were a part of a movement that dethroned your establishment Republicans. This is about a particular view of American society, to be honest with you, remember, what was his slogan 4 years ago? His slogan was, "We need to make America great again." And before that became his campaign slogan, the other slogan that the grassroots people in his constituency were saying is that we need to take our country back. That's
Right.
at the root of everything that we're dealing with right now. In addition to that, we're also dealing with the changing demographics in American society. That's also a response, just a response to those ongoing changes demographically that's taking place in American society. As I said last week, there's a great touch of nativism and also xenophobia. That's a part of this as well. That's the fear and the hatred and the loathing of the other. Their customs and their practices and their traditions. The other is the person who comes from another cultural group. So that's what this is in response to, all of those different moving parts.
Well,
that America's never coming back, right? That America's not coming back.
I want to talk about an interview that his son recently did, where his son downplayed what the 17-year-old who murdered those people did. He was saying at 17 years old, his exact words were, "At 17 years old, we've all done stupid stuff." Anytime you define someone murdering other people as something stupid, you've got a problem.
Well, listen.
2 people and mortally wounded the third person. Nearly shot his arm off.
I got three words for you. The Central Park 5. So,
right.
I mean, listen. So
he called for the death penalty of those.
And he still to this day has not apologized for that.
Has not recanted. Absolutely.
And he won't apologize. Brother Vic, you mentioned that it defies logic, but this is very logical for these people. This is very logical. If you follow the through line, I want a white pride worldwide. All right, so they think they've got a ally in Russia, right? So a young kid, a young boy, or whatever you want to call them, should be tried as an adult. I know people 15 in my community, 16, been tried as adults, and they was just trying to defend themselves sometime, or taking out a weapon and doing something stupid. Like his son said, right? They were stupid. But any other time, he would have called those people animals, right? These are animals. And in other words, they would pull out for the
thugs and criminals. Thugs and criminals.
That's right. But
detriment to our society, the dregs of the earth.
They need to be locked up and throw the keys. They should never see the light of day again. But Kyle Rittenhour joins a long line of white nationalists that have been activated. And I want to use this word. They are like a sleeper cell who's been activated by Donald Trump. If we had this many shoots, listen, the Florida nightclub, the El Paso shooting at the Walmart, Dayton, Ohio. See, people forget about Dayton, Ohio. The Jewish temple in Pittsburgh, right? The Boogaloo Boys killed a police officer. We had the Charlottesville killing. We had the Garlic Festival. People forgot about that. That was out in California.
But Mike, let's be clear. Let's be clear, Mike. Check this out. Mike, check this out. Check this out. Okay. Hey, Mike. Let me make a point that connects to your point. Remember, recently, the Department of Homeland Security rolled out a report stating that white supremacist groups are a clear and present danger, a persistent danger, and consistent danger to American society. They said that. Remember that?
That's right. And our Attorney General has not once prosecuted anybody in the last 4 years for domestic terrorism who was white. Now, y'all keep that in mind. He's not even taking up a civil rights case. So even in these police killings, where's the civil rights case? At least I hear a bunch of noise in the background. I don't know what's going on. But remember, even during Obama's administration, or even George Bush W administration, there would be a civil rights launched after a big uprising or a big uproar. A.G. Barr and the Trump administration et al. Have not once brought a civil rights case in all of these cases. Are you kidding me? We can't see this with video happening. A man got shot in the back and he's strapped to a bed and has to be arraigned on charges while he's strapped to a bed being paralyzed. And I mean, this is craziness that you said defies logic, but it's very logical if you're a virulent racist like Stephen Miller is. I started reading the book about Stephen Miller and I won't even. Well, I don't know if I should mention it or not. It's called Hate Monger, and I'm like 3/4 of the way through that book, and it's one of the scariest things I've seen. Here's a man with no talent who's been a racist all of his life, had Mexican friends, came out of California, Prop 187, and all these other things that we had going on in California. He's been a racist, and he rises to the top of the echelons of American society. What is to be said about this kind of individual in today's society? Is this how you get ahead? By being Candice Owens or this other girl, Killsack, the other black woman who's replaced Candice Owens as the new, I don't know if I should use the word, the bed W, as a BW of these guys, of right racist ideology. This ideology is hurting our country, and we got to kill it and stop it right now. Now, I know people are against Antifa and anti-fascists, and I'm not for what they're doing, but at least somebody's showing up and saying, hey, man, y'all ain't going to be showing up acting a doggone fool in my town, in my city. Now, I know they're out in Portland, Oregon, and they're doing stuff in Kenosha and some of these smaller towns that have smaller black populations. But we have got to realize what's happening to us around this country. And like I said, Kenosha's happening. The Florida guy with the pipe bombs, he sent one to George Soros and these other people. The president is inciting violence, and nobody has been prosecuted. I don't even know if any of these folks have even seen their day in court yet. Has any of them been convicted? Can anybody answer that question? I don't even know. So here we are. We're looking at a situation in America where Vladimir Putin is getting everything he wants. The president is saying, hey, meet with all my people and let's destroy the election. Hey, let's get rid of the post office and let's destroy elections. Let's bring my Russian subversives to mess up the vote count. We don't even know if our voting machines are not going to be tampered with during this vote right now. I'm very worried about what's going to happen during the election. We've got to be prepared. And I hope our Democrats allies and our Republican allies, who we've never had this many Republicans talk about they're going to vote for the Democratic candidate before in history. So that does going down. But this other 30% who Republicans showed up last night, Michigan better get ready. We had a
Mike.
5,000 people show up last night to see President Trump at a heckler in Freeland, Michigan.
Mike, let me interject a point here. Let me interject a point here, man. I gotta say this, right? I don't want to see Biden win, right? The race, but you just hit on something. This guy was in the middle of nowhere. He was in Freeland, Michigan, at an airport hangar, and over 5,000 people turned out. Right.
That's right.
And what I want to see is Biden and Harris do the same thing when they go to Detroit or Flint or Saginaw or Chicago or New York or DC or Baltimore.
Let me tell you what the difference is going to be. Hold on. Let me tell you right now. Most people that support Biden and Harris believe that coronavirus is real. So let me tell you what the crowd turnout is going to be. You're going to get a thinner crowd than you probably would have normally have gotten. And I don't even mean to sound like Deep Blue right now, but that is a reality. If you look at everybody's base, whereas Trump's base is not going to, and I'm not saying that everybody that supports Trump doesn't take the virus serious. I'm not saying that at all. What I'm saying is a lot of them are following his lead as far as this virus is concerned, even though if you look at the disclaimers that he puts on stuff saying you're not going to hold him responsible if you get sick or if you contact COVID or, if you catch COVID or if you get sick and die, that you can't sue him. That's part of the stipulation. You know what I'm saying? Ensuring neutrality. He put that there. And so what you have though with Biden and Harris, a lot more of their people tend to be a little bit more cautious where coronavirus is concerned.
Yes, absolutely. And let me pose a question. Let me pose a question to both you and Mike, Candice. What is your feel? Are you feeling up there's a presence up and down the I-75 corridor from Detroit to Pontiac to Flint to Saginaw in terms of the Biden campaign? Is there a drum
Well,
beat? Do you hear a drum beat, right? And here's my second part of the question, Mike. Are they connecting with the grassroots base? That's my question. Are they?
yeah.
I don't know if they're connecting with the grassroots base. Those people who normally don't vote.
Wait. Well, all right, so
What do you think
let me
about that?
answer. Well, first of all, like I always say with every campaign, and Candice can attest to this, we need more yard signs. So
Yeah.
we need more yard signs, right? But also, what we have is a problem, and I got to give Biden and Harris credit for this. They're not trying to endanger anybody. So even the handing out of yard signs and things like that requires
You got to be careful.
people coming together and things like that. These Trump supporters are rabid, racist people who are okay with what's going on. And
But where's that enthusiasm, Mike? Say, Mike, does that enthusiasm exist in the Biden-Harris campaign, though?
But you don't ever try to match crazy.
I'm just saying. I'm not talking about crazy. I'm talking about energy, though. I get your point. I agree with you. But what about the energy?
The energy should be put into saying, listen, everybody, you got to show up. Let me show you how to put your ballot in. We can make sure you vote early. We're talking about that. They're going around meeting with smaller crowds, which I think is important. He's been everywhere. He's been to Pennsylvania. He's been to Michigan. He's been to Wisconsin. Biden's been all over the place. He's just
Mike, I gotta ask you this question. Are you working with the campaign in this area?
No, I'm not. There's lots of other people are.
See, here's my point, man. You would be an excellent person to be. Let me finish my point here, Mike, real quick. Mike. You would be an excellent person to work with that. But I didn't finish my question. Let me finish my question, bro. Let me finish my question.
But you asked me a question.
Here's my point. No, here's my point, though, Mike. The reason why I'm asking you that question because you know Flint like the back of your hand. You know Flint inside and out. You would be a perfect. Let me make my point. You would be a perfect person to work in this area, man, with that campaign. Because your credibility in the community too. You see what I'm saying? You know the streets, Mike. They need to connect with the streets. That's my whole point.
All right, so let me answer your question because I was put on mute. I'm not involved in the campaign per se. I'm a UAW member, so I'm involved through the UAW right now, and we will be rolling out lots of different programs, calling programs. I'm doing a lot of that stuff right now. But direct campaign, no. You know why? I leave that now to the younger folks to do that. I am involved in the streets. I got grassroots people ready to go, and we're doing that. But right now, what we need to do is get people to get their ballots back so they can be registered to vote, making sure all that happens. We got to get all these people who are not registered down and ready to go. Then we can activate them and get the ballots pushed out, get them to go to the polls. We need 150 poll workers. People need to know about that kind of stuff. We need to still finish the census, which the Trump administration is trying to block the census right now. I mean, these are some of the things that we're challenged with, and we don't have those bodies, right? So I implore everybody, if you are a young person and you don't mind going to a restaurant and sitting there for a couple hours and eating, trying to catch COVID in a restaurant or going to the club, catching COVID, go work at the polls and do that. And we need some young people. Some of these older folks, our seniors and stuff, shouldn't be really working at these polls right now. They need some help, and they can guide you on what to do. And so yeah, I'm working in that sense, but directly with Biden campaign, no. I'm working with the peripheral, the UAW, the Democratic Party, other people with that on that side. We got an organization who's renting space from our building right now, who's getting out the vote. So that's how on that level, Brother Vic.
So in that regard, Mike, concerning, I agree with everything you just said, right? But right. I want to put an extra added emphasis on your telling them they need to go door to door. Stand 6 feet back, but they need to go door to door, Mike. They need to go out to the highways and the byways and talk to people who normally don't vote, man.
No doubt about that. I mean, listen. All right, so here's the issue. We've seen this with Hillary, right? We have a special problem now. A lot of people don't want to go door to door, but we've seen the problem with Hillary, right? And Hillary wasn't down here in Michigan. She I don't even think, did she even show up in Michigan? I don't think she did.
Kind of lightly.
Very lightly. But we need to be doing a lot more of that. I agree with you on that. No doubt about it. We can always do more and get down on the ground with more people. I agree with that. You can always do more. And
kind of losing you there, Mike.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Say, Mike. Cause see, here's the deal, man. Even what amazes me is that this past year has been a complete perfect storm. There is no way that Donald Trump should be anywhere between 5 to 10 points within Biden. There's no way. With everything that this guy's been doing, right? This race is for the Democrats to win. They should be able to take this thing easily. They really should, right? But here's the thing, though, Mike. I'm hearing from increasing numbers of black people in my circles who are saying they're voting for Trump. I can't explain it.
Hold on.
People saying they're going to vote for Trump.
I can't let that go. Listen.
I'm just saying, I'm hearing people who are saying, I'm voting for Biden. But what I'm saying is that I'm hearing people who are saying that.
Let me say this. You are in the hoity-toity crowd. Y'all make a whole lot more money.
Not everybody is in that crowd, Mike. That's
my crowd.
There's people from different walks of life in that too.
Well, in my crowd, people are saying, man, we can do whatever we got to do to get this dang fool out because he's ruining the country. Now, don't get me wrong.
Mike, I'm hearing this from the barbershop. When I'm at the barbershop, they saying this. Not a whole lot, but there's enough.
Hey, my barbershop in the hood, you get thrown out talking crazy like
I'm
that.
in the hood too. My barbershop's in the hood too, man.
Hey, look, I need to show up at your barbershop and start talking to your barber. Whoever talking like that, they need to throw their stuff out their own shop. And everybody know about it, man. I hope ain't no Flint barbers talking that crazy.
No, my barber's not saying that. There's been some customers, a couple of customers saying that. That's all I'm saying.
Well, EPMD had a song called "You a Customer," and it wasn't good. You a customer. So them customers, just like the EPMD song says, they customers. They don't mean nothing in that sense. They just come in every once in a while, do their thing, and get on out and try to stir the pot.
But Mike, see, I think that after this election, and really even during this election, because there's a bit of controversy in some news circles, right? Some different platforms, you're having people who are raising questions. They're raising questions really about both parties, but they're also raising questions about the Dems in terms of what is the return on investment in the black community. You've probably been hearing people say that too. You have black celebrities who are saying it, like your boy Ice Cube.
All right, so let's talk about black celebrities. So let's talk about black
Diddy, so forth.
No, listen. Black celebrity. Look, I ain't got no words for Ice Cube, Diddy, and the rest of them. But I want to commend the NFL last night. The Chiefs and the Texans, Houston Texans, locked arms last night and said Black Lives Matter. But guess what happened? Those people that had paid their good money, 16,000 of them, started to boo them. So this is the breakdown we have. Even if you're a celebrity and what have you, these white folks ain't listening to you. They don't care about you talking about let's do right by us. So I don't have time to talk to the Ice Cubes who been talking about craziness and been NWA all day, like P. Diddy, who want publicity every time he gets a chance, who always wants to talk about vote or die and this nonsense. Where your vote or die at now, man? We all gonna die if we keep Trump in another 4 years. You'll be in jail, Diddy. Other people be locked down. We cannot survive another 4 years in this country with Trump's menace to society. He's crazy, man. We can't have it. So I don't know what circles these other folks are running in. I've seen too many celebrities talk wonderful about what's happening and what should be happening with the Biden-Harris ticket. When Harris walks out in the streets, she was out there the other day. She had on her tennis shoes, and the black women applauding her. She's a celebrity everywhere she goes. She gets crowds where she goes, even though she's not trying to create crowds. This is what Trump hates most. He came up the other day, called her Kamala. He don't even know what to say. The black woman's got so much clout. She's so powerful. He don't even know what to do. And so here black women have a chance to go all in, bet all in on a black woman being the next president of the United States in 4 years, 8 at the most. And we're gonna mess that chance up. I ain't got time for folks who want to talk crazy and talk on the other side. Let them do their thing. Diddy, go to hell. Ice Cube, I love your music. You my boy, but the hell with you right now. You going about your business. We got too many fish to fry. We ain't got time for nonsense. Let's make it happen. And look,
absolutely.
Look,
what's up?
We all talk about Democrats in disarray. Do you know the list of Republicans every day who are running ads against their own
no
president?
doubt about that. No doubt about that. No doubt about that.
Look, they're losing money left and right now. The Republicans don't even have enough money to finish the campaign up. Donald Trump is begging for money. Somebody gonna put his own money in. Now, absolutely. You know.
I heard that. I heard that. No question.
You know, he ain't gonna put his own money in. But he got so many, like any dope dealer or like anybody, any criminal organization, he can't trust nobody. All of them stealing money off the top. Candice talked about it earlier.
He may have to call his boy Steve Bannon. Call his boy Steve Bannon. He got 25 million. He in somewhere.
These are rats jumping off a sinking ship. They know he's down. And you talked about 4 or 5 points. That's in Texas. We ain't talking about Wisconsin where he's 9 points down. Michigan where he's 10 points down. Pennsylvania where he's 8 points down. I go across other states. He's got to fight now in Georgia. He's got to go fight in Arizona. He's got to go fight in Texas, places that he thought he had locked up. So,
no doubt. But Mike, I agree with you. I mean, he has a lot of issues surrounding him. Look, he's fighting for his life, basically, not only his political life, but period, because he's facing charges in the event that he loses this election. No doubt about that. His back is up against the wall. No question about that. There's no question about that.
All right. So if his back is up against the wall, we need to stiffen our spines up, get our backs up, and get to those polls and send those ballots back in and make sure it's in the mail. Now, remember now, this man is trying to do everything he can. He's subverting the mail. He's telling his people to vote twice. He's going out trying to make sure that he keeps DeJoy in as the lead person in the post office to destroy the post office. He wants to make sure.
Mike, you're kind of breaking up.
Okay.
Mike, you're breaking up.
You're not breaking up for me, so I think it might be on Vic's end because I'm fine.
Victor, I need you to mute your mic. You're not talking, Victor. You're causing feedback. Victor, I need you to mute your mic.
Uh-oh.
All right.
So Candice, what's up, man? What do you think about all this?
Well, what about you got so Facebook is messing up today, Candice? Where's the comments at? I'm looking for the hometown hero and the rest of them to come in.
Oh, Lord.
So this is the thing, right?
Let's leave the dogs live, man.
We do have comments, Mike, but you have not taken one breath for us to get these comments.
I'm
and furthermore, I was looking up something that Hometown Hero did say in the comments talking about the sanctions against Russia has never been stronger. Hometown Hero, I just looked up all of our sanctions that the U.S. have going right now, and you, sir, just presented something that's not true. I want you, before I put you on blast, to look up the sanctions for yourself. We do not have the strongest sanctions against Russia that we've ever had in the history right now. As a matter of fact, you might want to check and see if we have any sanctions against Russia right now, or if we have sanctions against particular people in Russia. I'm going to have you do your own research before I put you on blast about it, though.
Well, we can go down the list. Flynn.
Irene is here from Australia. Hello, Irene. Welcome. They've basically been saying things along the lines of, you guys need new barbershops because you don't have freedom of speech there.
What does that mean?
They've been saying, wait.
Hold on. Can I address that?
Mike, can you wait a second? Because I really want to get through the comments. I think I just want to read the comments real quick. So, Hometown Hero said that the Woodward articles are hilarious. He said the exact same, and Paul, I'm back at the very top of the comments. He said that he said the exact same things in press conferences. He showed no panic, and yet we still ran out of toilet paper. Would showing fear really have been better? He said that the racism argument against Trump is about as powerful as the Putin argument. The sanctions against Russia are the strongest they have ever been, but you think he's in his pocket. He's racist, but how? And I'm telling you right now, Hometown Hero, I'm telling you, I know for a fact, that comment about those sanctions is incorrect. I don't know if you purposely are trying to misdirect people, but you might want to fact check yourself right there. Somebody brought up the New York City housing lawsuit, and Hometown Hero said, have we redefined the word racist? He's hired blacks in his administration. He's funded HBCUs. He's passed criminal justice reform to undo the damage done by Biden's crime bill. Would a racist like Jim Crow have done this? Someone else said that no Hometown Hero, but a racist opportunist would. And again, Jeff is in the building. Hello, Jeff. Commission is in the building. Yeah, so I had to go back for those. But basically, just to kind of fast forward to where we are, someone else said, ballots, no mail. Please drop off at the proper place or vote at a precinct. Your vote might not be counted. Someone else said that you're stoking fear by saying if Trump gets back in, that people are going to die. So we're kind of caught up on the comments now.
They're dying now. They're dying now.
Right.
But that's herd immunity, though, y'all.
Right.
That's herd immunity, though.
No, that's
right?
Natural selection, Vic.
Natural
That's natural
selection,
selection.
right?
Listen, when you have a fool in the White House, this is what you get. Hey, let me bring it back. And as a veteran, I'm appalled, right? This man called veterans, and he said it, y'all. And I don't care what nobody said. He called them fools. He called them stupid. He called them suckers, and all this other stuff.
Did you all see what he said about Christianity?
Well,
about evangelicals.
What did
he
he say?
said that they're the easiest people to fool. Did y'all see he said that about
Are you
them?
serious? When did he say that?
He did.
When,
Brother Vic, that's your realm. I'm gonna stay out of that one.
He definitely said it.
They back him consistently. That's amazing, man. That anybody would follow this guy, man, after everything that he said and done. It's literally amazing. Like I said before, this defies logic. There's no logic in this, man. There's no logic in this. I'm sorry.
I think there is logic when you, like you said, if you following, look, they're drinking the Kool-Aid. I had a guy, we weren't even friends. We were on, he friended me on Facebook years ago. And then the quicker he started, the closer we get to this election, the crazier he's acting with Trump stuff. So when I go on and I say he's drinking the Kool-Aid and he's a Trumpist, he told me, he cussed at me first. He was on the line, right? He cussed at me and then he blocked me, right?
Oh, for real?
So, well, listen. These Trump people don't want to hear the truth because they're drinking the Kool-Aid. Man, they're in the forest with Jim Jones drinking the Kool-Aid. They don't want to hear from me. They don't want to hear from me. They don't want to hear from you as an evangelical, as a person a man of the cloth. They don't want to hear what you got to say about the Bible and biblical right now because they're going down a path of drinking the Kool-Aid. They're happy with it.
Sure. No doubt about it. And we ended the show last week making the point that King made, right? That his fear at the end of his life, his fear was that he was integrating his people into a burning house. Literally, America is burning, right? Out west in California.
Yes.
Certain western states are having forest fires, man.
Well,
that's literally decimating entire communities, man.
All right, so listen, Trump is running off of fear. So if you want to talk about me and talking about fear, 200,000 Americans have lost their lives because this man is not doing his job. The last few days, we're averaging 1,000 Americans a day dying. You know how many they average in France? 17. In Italy, we had a great, unbelievable problem at the beginning. 30 people a day. In Great Britain, 17. Their numbers are well under 100 every day. Well under 100. But here we are in America, 1,000 lives a day. That means there's almost 50 people per state, right? 50 people of 20 people per state going out every day, dying. I mean, what are we talking about here? We're talking about riots and people in the streets and people going around shooting people. I just named off all the people he's activated from his terrorist campaign. You don't think he's going to up the ante with Bill Barr? He will put Joe Biden in jail. He will put Hillary Clinton in jail. He'll put Barack Obama in jail in 4 years. You mark my words. He'll do it. He'll put Barack Obama's people.
So in other words, Mike, you're saying that what happened?
Go ahead.
So this is the thing.
Germany.
Wait, I want to go back to something really quickly, right? So there was one of Trump's defenses to Woodward blasting him about downplaying the virus, and even Pence said that's because you're supposed to project confidence. I think that the thing that makes that a flat out and blatant lie is if you knew that this was a deadly virus and you were trying to downplay it to project confidence, you still wouldn't have downplayed the use of masks. You still would have tried to calmly close the country down. You still would have had a centralized plan. You still would have had people fighting over ventilators, competing against the federal government for ventilators. The bottom line is this was something dangerous. You risked people's lives. This wasn't you projecting confidence. This was you projecting your incompetence. That's reality.
Absolutely, Candice. And listen, here's a man who operates off of panic and fear every day. He's trying to panic and put fear in the people in the suburbs every day. Panic and fear works for him right now because he wants to project panic and fear to white folks. But he didn't want to make Americans panic back then. Get out of here, man. That's how he works on panic and fear. He loves to talk about fear and panic. And all of a sudden, that wasn't something he wanted to do. Stop that nonsense. Trump knew exactly what was going on, but he let Americans die. This 200,000 people is on the clock. In February,
Good to see you, man. Okay, now.
One aspect it would be, well, we don't have to worry about anything. And then he go back to Bob Woodward the next week and say, hey, yeah, this thing's pretty bad. It's killing teenagers and young people. Then he come out, oh, y'all young people, y'all all right? Go on out here and make babies, and go to the movies and do all this other stuff. This man is insane. He does not care about you. And if you don't believe that, what's the plan now? Name his plan for getting us out of coronavirus right now. What's the plan? He keeps lying right now.
Mike, you know what this is. You know what this is, right? This pandemic has been impacting our community negatively, right? Greatly, to be honest with you, all across this country. It's much like certain sectors' response to the Flint water crisis. Because of the demographic makeup of the city of Flint, it's hint, predominantly African American. Since this pandemic is greatly impacting Black and brown people, ergo, there's the answer to the question, right? And we knew that on the first day, right? But that's impacting us, right? He doesn't care. He throws his hands up. What can I do? Even though he knew all along that this would turn into a pandemic. I think he knew back in November.
Yeah, that's a propaganda lie.
He sat on the information purposefully and sacrificed
He absolutely
people.
knew.
The blood is on his hands.
Absolutely knew. I think that every single solitary world leader knew in November what was going on. And there's not one that I'm going to give a pass. They all knew in November. They all knew in November.
Well, he sits here and calls it the Chinese virus. This is the Trump virus. This is the Trump virus. Because he had a chance to stop.
It's not even like he's calling it the China virus because that's where it came from. That's more coded racist language.
Yeah. Xenophobia.
We know it's racism, no doubt. Xenophobia. Right. We know it's racism, but hometown hero will act like it's not. Racism don't exist in America.
All right. Mike, 30 seconds. Let's close it out. Go.
Get out there and vote. Don't listen to what they're saying. They're trying to stop you from voting. Obviously, it means something to you. Anytime somebody's trying to stop you from doing something, it's probably something you probably really need to be getting on to. Your vote counts. Don't let anybody tell you your vote doesn't matter. Don't let anybody tell you Democrats are in disarray. More Republicans are coming out against Trump than have ever come out before. The Republicans are in disarray because they have a crazy man at the top. Do not drink the Kool-Aid. Step away from the Kool-Aid bottle. Please.
Vic, 30 seconds. Let's go.
Absolutely, people. If you're looking for a leader, look in the mirror, because you'll find one staring right back at you. And I think that Trump is a prime example of the kind of office holder that we should not give our power over to. We need to take our power and tap into our agency and be the leaders that we were made to be.
All right, thank you. And I guess I'm just going to close it out with bottom line at this point. Whether you want to take into play his sexism, his racism, whether you want to take into play just all of the things that he's done, at the end of the day, the whole Make America Great Again, all he's done is ruin this country. Period. There's not too many more conversations that I'm willing to have with people as it relates to him. I'm more than happy to read your opinion. But as far as going back and forth about stuff and then you throwing out false facts, even with the sanctions on Russia, knowing good and dang on well Russia's not being sanctioned heavily right now. I mean, there's nothing else I can do when you want to just completely ignore facts. There's no conversation that we can have. But I will gladly read your opinion, and I'm sure Mike and Vic will gladly talk to you. But as far as I'm concerned, I'm with Vic. Look inside for your leader, because that's the only way you're going to find it. All these people work for us, yet we sit around and debate as if they should really be in control of our lives when we are the ones that are in control. We need to take that control back. Until next week, this has been Whose Opinion Is It Anyway with Candice.
And Victor.
And Mike, our special guest, as always. And we'll see you back here again next week. Bye.
Go vote.